Hi, I'm Mandy from Mandy's Geek Boutique. Today I'm going to make this cup again, only in, hopefully, blues and greens. Today I have my little 4-year-old off to my right. He is, can I have your cup for a second?
Yeah.
He is working on his very own beautiful cup, as you can see.
But it's dipping. This is the paint dipping.
He's doing a wonderful job and hopefully he lets me work today. Okay, so I have already sanded and primed my cup. I used Squirt's Paint and Prime. It's got a 10-minute dry time. I've actually done 2 coats on this and don't love the coverage, but for what we've got to do, it is going to be fine. I'm not the best spray painter, but in the end, beautiful colours. Yes, the water has turned beautiful colours. So, yeah, so we're going to do this cup. And we've got the squirts. Like I said, I think I said I prefer Rust-Oleum. But at the moment in Australia, it is hard to get your hands on anything. So, to get started, the first thing you need to do is, after your cup is ready, tape it off. Now, I really am bad at this.
Mom,
I need one of those little groovy things that hold your cup in place. Alright, so you just take some painter's tape. You could do electrical tape, but it kind of sticky. I find this is cheaper and easier. Okay, I'm just going to make it a little less sticky by sticking it on my clothes. And voila. Now, basically, all you want to do is tape off an area for your inks. Now, all I do is start it, turn it until I get to the end. I don't do it, I'm not super concerned about it. It usually looks great no matter what you do. And then, ta-da, beautiful. Yep. So, this shape is pretty awesome for this cup. It's the 25-ounce football shape that I got it from Affordable Blanks. I am so sorry, guys. I'm going to be... This is the first time I've ever done a video like this, so it's going to take me a while to get used to keeping things in the camera. Yes, you're Christopher. Alright, so then we just go pretty much to the other side. My name's Mandy.
Mandy?
Yes. And then again, bring it down.
Let me help you.
Now, that is the area.
Me kind of that. Like that. Without helping you all the time.
That
But you are
I will be putting my inks onto this area.
Well, you are my Banny house.
Now, if you don't,
You are my Banny house.
if you're not happy with the
But it is not where this
shape, just play with it until you are.
Sissy. This is my Disney.
This isn't, I'm not really very happy with this one. Actually, I think that one was
It's
right where it was.
Halloween party.
Oh, you're a beautiful singer, honey. But
You know what time?
so I think I'll probably end up doing a voiceover, guys, because yeah.
Me when it's my
I got a
cup.
feeling someone. You finished your cup, did you?
Yes, Dee.
Oh, you did a wonderful job, darling.
But this side.
All right, I think I'm happy with that now. So, how do I do the bottom of this one? Yep, that one's fine.
But paint got on me, look.
Oh, you got some paint on you. That is fine.
Can you line me up?
Yeah, there's wipes right here. You wipe yourself up. Handy dandy baby wipes. There you go.
But those are from dandy. You
As you can tell, we're very, very professional here. Mandy's Geek Boutique. Okay. Now, the good thing about this part of this cup is that, well, there's no epoxy, there's nothing that is toxic. So having little kiddo hanging around is not going to be a bad thing. Okay, so I'm going to be putting the alcohol inks in here. Now, the way that I get that beautiful watercolour effect is just by painting it on like you would watercolour. Okay, so I'll be using alcohol inks. This one is Paper Mill Turquoise, which I got from Riot, which, as we all know, has actually gone into liquidation. I think most of these are from there, so... What? Alright, this one is the Emerald, again, Paper Mill brand. Basically, any colours you like will work though. So, that is Emerald. Yes, Emerald is a green. And then this one is
no green colors.
Sapphire Blue Pinata.
This colors are blue. Mine isn't. Mine's too bold. My pink.
So I'm just popping the alcohol inks into a little palette. It just makes it a little bit easier.
Mine's big. My paint's big.
Can you go play in your bedroom
No.
while your cup dries? This is Paper Mill
But you see what my
Winterlake. Yeah, it does not want to focus on there, does it? Please don't touch the cup, honey.
But look, my hand.
Yes, it's your hand.
But my whole body is here.
And lime green.
But my whole body here.
Yeah.
Look at my Pac-Man door. Look at Pac-Man door.
Yes, you've got a Pac-Man shirt.
But look at my fingernails.
And your fingernails are beautiful and they're still black from Halloween. And the last colour I'm putting in here is Sunburst Yellow from Pinata.
Water you gave me.
And
color.
that is just because, as we know, blue and yellow make green, and I thought it might just give it a little bit of a contrast. I also have the Paper Mill Pearl here. I'm just going to give it a shake. And there we go. I'm going to add a little bit of that into a cup off to the side. I don't know if I will use it, but just in case. I also have
Now look what color it is.
Digger's Isopropyl alcohol. I buy mine at Big W. It's only a couple of cents more than Bunnings, and it's easier for me to get to Big W. But you can pretty much get this stuff anywhere.
What color?
Yeah, beautiful coloured water. And that would just be, I'll use that when I want to thin out my colours or to do at the very end, just to do those little water splatter type effect in there. Okay, so we just start with a paintbrush.
Look.
Just any old fluffy paintbrush will do. I've got this one here from Bunnings. I've got a Derwent one. And this one's Nouveau. So any fluffy round brush will work. I just spray it with a little bit of alcohol. Spray the cup to make it just a little bit damp. Just like when you're doing watercolour, you don't start on a dry surface. So then I just pick up my first colour, which for me today is going to be this blue. Now, I can't remember what colours I put into where, but I think this was the Winterlake. And start by dropping the colour down
Help me do my cup. Can you help me do
onto
my
it.
cup?
I've got a cloth off to the side here that I just
paint on you. Look at you all
pull
around.
off,
Look at your nails. Look at your nails.
and then you just go in with the next colour.
Look at your nails.
You painted me, yes, beautiful.
Come on.
And then you just continue to do that, just dropping your colours in.
Look at your elbow. Look at your elbow. Look at your elbow.
Until you're happy with it. And we'll just do that over the entire cup.
Look at your elbow.
Lift your cup up, move it around. You want to try and avoid long lines and stuff. But just pat them with your brush
Why you got my mommy's glasses?
and move them.
Ooh.
Oh, careful with your...
All
Alright.
You're supposed to like my mommy boy.
Already I just
Me
added some of that
too,
pearl.
Mommy.
It'll just lighten up that colour and give it a little bit of shine.
Mommy also got it back. Mommy, me best.
So I might actually,
Papa and Daddy. Bishop.
after I've done this for a little bit,
Me kiss pet.
I might speed it up a little. And you can just see as I go in. No rhyme or reason. Just plopping the colours on there. Go back over colours because that's how you get that depth. If you go back over your colours, drop some more colour in. And just keep going until you've covered the whole thing and you're happy with it. Now, it doesn't matter if your colours do leak under your tape.
Look at my
Because
finger. Look at my finger.
you're going to be putting a glitter
My finger is kind of... Look at my
over.
finger.
Yes, can you go away? You're going to be putting a glitter over there anyway, and it will cover it. The reason you start with your alcohol inks first and not your glitter is because you don't want glitter getting under your paint or causing issues with texture and stuff like that. So you just keep going. It is really, really quick. It works so beautifully. Like I said, go back over the areas that you've worked through already. Dropping in colour, lightening it up, and just bringing about that depth. Greens are not my strong point, I must say. I don't tend to work with green very often.
But look at mine.
So
My
hopefully
green is like blue.
your green is light blue, is it?
Yes.
So, and I seem to be losing my blues to the green and yellow, but I don't know if that's a terrible thing. Honestly, I can always go back after and do another layer and bring that colour back in. But I think I have another blue.
Away.
I might try.
Can you help me?
No, honey.
Please. But look at my butt. Look at my gutter water.
Alright, so I'm just going to add
Now
some of this ocean blue shimmer and see if that doesn't lighten up my cup. I think what I need to do is use a clean brush
Mommy, think it's
and
why.
get some of this blue
Mommy,
on
find
here.
out why. Sorry.
Yeah, that is working beautifully now. So you can get some blues in here with a clean brush. And
But look at
hopefully
me,
we don't lose it again.
Let me just do it away. Let's do the one here.
So, yep, just really, really super easy. You can't sit on my lap while I'm doing this, sweetie Petey.
But the watercolor now. But now the watercolor in my hole.
And I just lost that blue. Alright, so.
The watercolor.
Like I said, alcohol ink is amazingly forgiving. All I need to do is pick a little bit of this up. As you can see, that colour is there and it will stay there. And then go on top and there we have the blue back.
Extra.
So absolutely amazing. You can just keep working this until you are happy with it. And once you're happy with it, you want to seal it really, really well because it does move a lot. It's and it will always remain reactive to the alcohol. So
my mommy's gone.
I don't know if you can hear my son. He's sitting down there and he's sitting under the table and he's going on about how his mummy is gone forever. All that is left is the paint on her arm. So that is sorry, kind of cute and adorable. And
You like my mommy all the time.
I'm like your mummy?
Yeah.
Ah.
You can watch this with my mommy.
I wear glasses like your mummy? Is that because I am your mummy? Mm-hmm. Are you funny?
Mommy.
Yes, Christopher.
Look at my cat. Yeah, Mommy.
Alright, so this is turning out a
Mommy,
lot darker than I thought it would
Why
be.
you so close? Why?
That's okay.
Mommy, is your voice gone, Mommy?
No, my voice is not gone.
Owie! Oh, my nose.
Alright. You hurt yourself.
Yeah.
What'd you do that for?
Mommy, because it's your voice gone.
Alrighty. So yeah, I'm really quite liking the way this is coming out. Just a little bit. Okay, now the way that you get depth with alcohol inks is doing multiple layers, going over and having some where it's really, really light, almost see-through, and then other areas where it's beautifully dark and pigmented and so lovely. And yeah, you just get this amazing depth, and which I don't think you get using any other mediums. Like, it's really quite interesting, and it'll never be the same. You'll never, even using the same colors, dropping it down in the exact same places, you will never ever have it come out the same way twice, because of the way that it reacts with itself and with the surface that you're working on. So I suppose the same can be said of watercolors, but they can be manipulated just that little bit more, that, you know, you can almost predict where they'll go. But with these inks, it is just spectacular. Like, I don't know, I suppose it kind of looks like a big old mess at the moment, and you'll probably notice I have got it all over here, that is okay because it will be covered up. It is messy work, so wear old clothes. Make sure that you are not working on anything that you don't care about or that isn't designed to be messy. I would like to get a little bit more blue into this, so I'm going to wait for this to dry. It'll only take a few minutes, and then I'm going to come back and do another coat over with clean brushes and just drop in some blues. Okay.
Mom, you're going to do my cup.
Okay, so this is mostly dry now. It still has a few little spots where it's not completely dry. To start off with, I am just going to drop a little bit of that pearl shimmer in, just to, I don't know if you can see it, but it actually brings up all the colours that are underneath it. Like I can see the blue, the turquoise and the green through there now, whereas before it was just sort of dark and a bit of a mess. So do the same over here. I'll just drop that over the top. It's not an opaque colour, it just gives it a little bit of a shine and a little bit of a brings out the colours underneath it, just that little bit. And just gives it a little bit of interest, a word that we use a lot in the art world. Okay, now I'm going to go in with the yellow. Yellow is such a horrible colour to use and keep nice and bright, but I'm going to try and get some nice yellow spots. It's not going to be much, unfortunately, because as you can see, that is already going green. Oh, beautiful. Okay, I think that will do just nicely anyway. It was just supposed to give it a little bit of contrast, and I think it does that. And now I'm going to go in. That's the yellow one, so I don't want that one. That one. Just cleaning it in a little bit of clean, plain alcohol, hopefully. Trying to get some of that green out so that I can get some blue going here. Okay. Oops. Oh, that's okay. I just popped that into a blue one. But there we go. So I've got this blue shimmer here, and I put out some more of the blue sapphire. So hopefully we can get a little bit more blue into the cup and just give it a little bit more interest. So the sapphire blue is so deep and pretty. Look at that. Now you're probably all thinking, oh my god, that's such a mess, it's so horrible. Because I'm kind of thinking the same thing right now. But at the same time, I don't know whether that is because I'm not a fan of blues and greens, or if it's because the cup's just a big old mess. Okay. So I think I'm just about done here. Stepping out of my comfort zone on my first video probably Wasn't the best idea.
Mommy.
Might have probably, in hindsight, stuck to colours that I know and work well with. Oh, you bumped your head. Here, let me kiss it. Mwah. All better now?
Yeah.
Perfect.
Mommy.
Okay,
Mommy.
so
Mommy.
now I'm going to put some stuff here just to stop that from moving too much. And I'm going to get my clean alcohol, and from high up, I'm just going to spritz it. And that will give us
But my paint.
just some little...
My paint is. Are you buying my paint?
Yes, I'm using your paints.
But
I'm not...
They're
They're yours.
Thank you.
And this will just move the colours a little bit, dilute some of them so that you'll get a few of those spots coming out to start with, and it'll just give us a little bit of interest. Now, if you put on too much and it runs, just give it a little tap until it dries so that you don't get any of those run spots. Another effect that is really cool from this is you get a little bit of spider webbing type coloration happening. Alright, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to squirt some into my hands so that I can get some big drops on there and just splash it on in some big drops. Now, I am never careful with this. If you are a control freak, probably not the best method. But there you have it. I think I'm just going to leave that now and maybe just try and get a little bit of... Oh, see, that just brought out that turquoise so beautifully. I don't know if that is coming up, but... Absolutely gorgeous mix of colours in here now. And yeah, so then as it dries back, the colours will fade and they will look sort of dull and boring, and you might think, oh my God, what have I done? This is not what it was. But once you put the epoxy over, it just comes back to life and it looks wet again, and you get the same effect that you had when it was wet. So that is when the magic happens. Of course, we all know epoxy is magic. Toxic magic, but magic. Okay, so I'm just going to let this dry and then I will come back and show you how I did the glitter. I have taped off the... Okay, so I'm back now and I've got my cup taped off again, only this time I've got it taped off on the opposite side. So before we had it taped off over here so that we could do the ink. Now I've got it taped off over on the ink side so that I can do the glitter. Now, I have got my glitter all mixed up here in a cup. It is absolutely super sparkly and beautiful. Okay, so I've actually mixed a few glitters. They're all from Black Magic Glitter. I have put in Holographic Meso Blue and Green. I have put in Calypso Blue in both the Nano and the Meso. And I've also put in the Blue and Green in the Mega, which is the big chunks. And I've put in a little bit of this custom blend. This is Bright Lights. It is absolutely amazing. I always use this one when I want some bling. So it sparkles like crazy. And the main part of it is this custom blend. I don't know the name of it. However, it is from Black Magic Glitter and I got it without a label. But it has got some greens and blues. It's got a couple of different sizes in there, and it just is really, really pretty, and I thought it suited the cup nicely. I also have a little container with some Mod Podge in it. It's just regular old Mod Podge. This is just the gloss one. You can use any Mod Podge, any PVA glue, any craft glue, really, so long as it will stick your glitter. And I've got a Mod Podge brush. Again, any brush will do. So yeah, so basically you just whack your Mod Podge on, nice thin even coat along the entire area that you want glittered. You don't need to be really precise with this. It's a chunky mix, so it really is going to hide any imperfections in your paint, in your glue. It will hide it. So you just whack it on. Now, I say that and then I'm still going over it, making sure that it's nice and even, because that's just, it really is a good habit to be in, because there are techniques out there where it really matters. So if you're in the habit of just making sure that your glue is neat, then you never have to worry about it. Never have to worry about forgetting to do it. Okay, now I am one of the messiest glitterers in the world, which is why I put my Mod Podge into a separate container, because you can guarantee that I am going to get glitter into my glue. So when I'm happy with that, making sure that I've got it all covered. Now remember, you can always do a second coat of glitter. That is not a problem. In fact, with chunky, you almost always, when you're dealing with the chunkier glitters, you almost always need to do a second coat, because the coverage isn't all that great on them. They tend to leave spaces and all of that. So I've got some paper down over my space just so that I can catch any glitter that comes, so that I can reuse it, so I'm not wasting as much. You just want to make sure that you don't have any big bumps of glue like I just had. Alrighty. And so then you just, of course, start by sprinkling your glitter on. Doesn't matter how you do this, so long as it gets on there. Okay, with chunky glitter, afterwards you're going to want to tap it down a little just to make sure that it is sticking, and like, oh my gosh, look at that shine. Like, oh, it is amazing. Glitter is heaven, honestly. I love glitter. There's nothing that makes my heart sing quite so beautifully as glitter does. Alright, so I may not have made up enough of this little mix, but that's okay. I'm going to, so the paper I'm using is just regular old baking paper that you get from the supermarket. I like it because it doesn't, the glitter doesn't stick to it as well. Like it slides off it just so much nicer. So just popping that down, getting some glitter on the butt, because you can't forget the bottom of your cup. Okay, so just, no, I'm not opening up that paint for you. So I'll just slide that around, and you couldn't see that, I'm sorry. I just basically put it on there and then just slid it around to make sure that it was covered. And again, pop it off to the side while I...
Pink one. How about pink one? How about my pink one?
If this was colours that I worked with a lot more, I probably would have made up a lot more of this and just kept it in another container. But because I don't use blues and greens that much together, or at all, blues yes, greens not so much.
Please use this.
No, I don't need pink acrylic paint right now, darling. So I've really only made up enough, you know, what I'll need, what I'll use, because yeah, otherwise it's just a waste. Yeah, so, but it is super easy just to slide it back on in and come back to your cup. So long as your Mod Podge doesn't dry on you, which is why you need to work rather quickly. Okay, so now you'll notice that this is quite patchy, but that's okay because I'm just going to pat down the chunks and then I'll leave this to dry for a bit and then I will seal it and then I will do another coat of the glitter, the Mod Podge and glitter. Now the reason I seal it in between coats is just so that it doesn't move while I'm putting the next coat on. You could probably skip that step, but I just find that it is really, really messy and really, really like, it'll go clunky. Especially when you're using chunkier pieces of glitter. Okay, so I will just let that dry and then I will seal it and I will be back. Okay, so I'm back. I've made up some more glitter. I've been looking at this and I absolutely love it and I'm thinking, yep, I'll probably end up using that again. So I went with it, made up a bunch more, and I'll end up putting what's left afterwards into a little container to keep. Okay, so here we go. We just pop this on. I go over this a little more gently on the second coat. Try and do it a little more carefully and just a little bit more precisely, because even though I've sealed that glitter, some of it will still inevitably come off and try and move around on me. And I don't want it to go all clunky or have spots where my glitter ends up going dull because the glue was just too thick. Okay, so I'm just going to do the bottom of my cup first. Get it out of the way. Sorry that you can't see that. Just making sure I get all of that done so that it is done and I don't forget it. I am notorious for forgetting to do the bottom of my cups. And I don't know, I don't actually put, I know a lot of people put logos on theirs and I don't know why, but I feel like that is just tacky. I don't know. I like the bottom of my cup to be just as pretty, and while I like my logo, I understand that not everybody likes things to have brand names on them. I don't put my kids in certain clothes for that reason, because, you know, their names are, my kid's not a walking advertisement, and I don't think people's cups should be either. I think the cup itself is, I don't know how many people stop and ask me, oh, where'd you get your cup? And, you know, when I say, oh, I make them, I sell them, that is the best advertising that there is. You don't really need to have your name on the bottom of your cup. However, for the people that do that, go for it. We all do our own thing, and that is what makes our world beautiful. Our individual things, like even when we do the same thing, like I'm sure I'm not the only one that's ever done a cup in this way. You know, like, but Mine is different because it's me who does it. Because my style might be slightly different from yours, or you know, like, because we all learn from each other. We learn and we grow and we're like, that is amazing. I never would have thought to do that, or you know. It's just, I love our little cup community, and especially the growing community here in Australia. It is amazing that we are all so helpful and so supportive of each other. I don't know if I have enough glue. You'll notice that when you're doing your second and subsequent coats, that you do use a lot more of your glue than you did on your first coat. And that's simply because glitter is thirsty and it soaks it up. And it's really good though, because it goes down into the spaces between the glitter, and that is going to help make sure that you get a good coverage. And that's why you be careful on your second coat. You'll be a little bit more careful, making sure that you get it all over it, that you get down into those spaces between your glitter, and that you are basically going to end up with a beautiful result. So yeah, as you can see, very, very patchy up here. That when it dried, a lot of that came off. So my guess is that my glue had started to dry on me. Now, look at my brush. That, my friends, is why I always put my glue into a separate container when I am using it, because I don't want that going into my pot. Especially not when I buy the bigger pots, and they're so expensive. Like, I don't know why I don't just give up and use the regular PVA glue. It's so much cheaper. But there's something about me, I just love the Mod Podge, and I keep using it, and I keep buying it. Alrighty. So, going back in, same thing. Patting it down as we go. Working fairly quickly again, because you don't want your glue drying on you and ending up with yucky patches. And I just dumped almost all that glitter out onto there. I don't know if you noticed. So I'm still, even though I made up extra, I'm going to have to go back in and tip this out. I am one of the messiest glitterers in the world. Honestly, like, I think glitter savage is one of the terms they use. Yes, absolutely savage with my glitter. Okay. All right, so that is looking so amazing. I'm just gonna sit it to the side. I have a little, I'll show you in a second, a little pool noodle cut to teeny tiny, and I just shove my cup in it whenever I need to be hands-free. Like, see, just a tiny little piece of pool noodle that has been used so often, and I just have that off to the side, and I just shove the end of it in when I need my hands. And when I'm crafting with children in the house, that is quite often. Okay, so just nearly done with this step. And then this will need another, when I've done this, I will need to put another couple of coats of the clear over it to make sure that it is really, really sealed in, because, I mean, it always happens with me anyway, but you don't want your glitter traveling into your ink when you epoxy. Like on this one, there is a tiny bit and it just adds to it. It's just the nano glitter that moved. Excuse me, what is the matter? Oh, I missed a big spot here.
My nose hurts, Mommy.
Your nose hurts.
Mommy.
Why does your nose hurt? I'm getting glitter everywhere, aren't I?
Don't put it on your toe.
You also got some paint on my toe. I know you got paint on my toe. You got paint everywhere. Okay, so I'm back, and well, I had a little bit of a mishap and I don't know how much actually recorded. My battery went flat on me. I am so sorry about that. But basically what I've done is I've done the second coat of glitter, being more careful on the second coat. And then I removed my tape while the glue and the glitter was still wet. I removed the tape, and that way you get a nice clean line. I've cleaned up my glitter anywhere that there was any glitter that had traveled, and then I have sealed this 3 times to make sure that it will not move when I do the coat of epoxy. Now this is actually ready for epoxy now, but I'm not going to do that until later, because I don't do epoxy while my kids are up, unless my husband is home to supervise them. You can see I've got, I don't know if that will focus enough, but I do have like a teeny tiny bit of glitter there that has traveled. This is still a little tacky, so I won't actually epoxy it until it is completely dry. And then I will go over and I'll make sure that there are no big pieces of glitter. Like there's one there and that I can see, and I'll just make sure that there are none of the big pieces of the glitter on the alcohol ink. I don't mind if any of the nano, like the microfine glitter, has traveled onto it. That just sort of adds in and ties it all together, but I don't want any of the big pieces to be there. So I will be back when I have time. I don't know whether it will be tonight. I'm not sure how good my lighting is, or if it will be tomorrow when my kiddo is at kindy. Look at that sparkle. That is just amazing. Okay, see you soon. Okay, so I had a lot of background noise while I was filming this part, so I have decided to do a voiceover, and as you've noticed, I've sped this up quite a bit. So this is just me applying the coat of epoxy. You'll notice that there's a few spots where the glitter actually does move, despite the fact that I had sealed it 3 times. Chunky, it does that. So whenever I noticed a little piece of glitter, I would move it back into the area where the glitter was. In the end, I didn't get any big pieces of glitter on my inked area. So this coat is a rather thick coat, mainly because of the chunky glitter being very, very thirsty. And for here, I was just trying to make it nice and smooth so that I could apply my decals. So adding a little bit of heat here to pop the bubbles, and then I just let it turn for about 6 hours. This is the next day. It's all...
No, we're gonna do that.
Okay, so here I am. I'm just sanding the cup. Particularly around the rim of the cup, I expose a thin line of the stainless steel so that when I put my final layer of epoxy on, I get a nice seal around that glitter, and so that the seal's at the top of the cup instead of on the rim where it's more vulnerable. So I just do a nice sand all over, especially around the bottom and, like I said, the top of my cups, because that's the places that I tend to have the most trouble with fisheyes and stuff like that anyway.
And I'm getting this ready for my decals. There, I just noticed that there was like a little piece of dust or maybe a little bug or something. So I just sanded that out until it was gone. Thankfully it was on the ink, not the glitter, so I was able to sand that back nicely. Okay, so then I took the alcohol and again cleaned the cup. Dust and oil from your hands, all that sort of stuff is going to cause fish eyes and stuff like that in your epoxy. So yeah, keep your hands clean, keep your cup clean. So now I'm just getting ready to put on my decals. I just cut these in Design Space. I just cut long strips, the width that you want. Just like I just eyeball it. I think I did these as the black one here as 1/4 of an inch. I could have done thinner or even wider, but I think that this worked quite nicely. And sorry, there I go off the camera again. I will get better at this, guys. So I start by popping it above the rim and just laying it along that line where the glitter and the alcohol inks meet. Yeah, this is just Cricut vinyl, and I just use whatever I have on hand. So I happen to have some of this, and so that's what I used. Yeah, so I am really not great at putting on nice straight lines. As you can see, I struggle. I could have edited this out, but I thought that I would leave it in and let you see that we all have trouble sometimes, that we just, even, you know, oh, I'm not a professional, obviously, but, you know, I've been doing this for a few years now, and yeah, I still have trouble sometimes with my hands shaking, with things just not working. Okay, so then I'm getting the gold, which you just cut the strip the same length, but slightly thinner. And then I lay that down in the middle. You'll notice that I don't get it completely straight. I don't get it completely perfectly centered. And that's okay. This is a handmade product. There are imperfections. Which, you know, I really don't think we should point out to each other. Like when we share our work and stuff like that, I see it so often. We're like, oh, it's not perfect, I made this mess, and you point out the mistakes, and then sometimes I look at that and I think I would never have seen that if you hadn't have mentioned it. So just don't point out your mistakes, guys. Just share your work, be proud of it, and soak up the praise and adoration that you get from it. Like, that is, I've said it before, it's one of my favorite things about the Tumblr community is that we are so supportive of each other and so helpful. So yep, I'm just lighting that up, going, you'll notice that I actually take it, like it's longer than my cup. That just helps it to make sure that it's lined up completely. That way that I can, and I just folded it under at the bottom there, just so that I can see where that meets. I will cut those off with my craft knife later on, and you'll see me doing that, and again struggling. But yeah, so then I just do the other side. On the purple cup I actually did a triple strip, so I did a line of a darker purple, and then I did the gold, which was actually a matte gold, not a shiny gold, and then I did another even thinner strip of the purple again along the gold, and so it's like a triple border. But I thought on this one that the gold and the black just lined it perfectly, and it didn't need the third strip of the black. Yeah, and again you see that I do not get this centered, and I'm not sure what brand this gold is. I borrowed it off a friend. Gold is another color that I don't work with often. I'm very much pinks and purples and blues and yeah, greens, golds, all those colors, they're just not my cup of tea. So yeah, now I'm just double checking that I don't have any air bubbles in my vinyl, and then I just take my craft knife. Well, actually this one is my husband's craft knife. Shh, don't tell him I used it to cut vinyl. And I just carefully, very carefully, trying not to cut myself, trim that off. To start with, I was going to cut it just right at the edge, and then I remembered that that would make it very hard to get that seal of epoxy, so I just go down just slightly below the rim of the cup, and then making sure that it is really well stuck on. When I've noticed that when I do the epoxy, quite often it is just those little end bits that come up from the epoxy, so you really want to make sure that those areas are stuck down really well. And then I do that again on the bottom. Just cutting both of them together so that they do line up perfectly. So here I am just making sure that I've got the black pulled up as well. And then again, I just line it up along the bottom and do a little cut. You'll notice in a second, when I do the second one, that I really screw up, but it's fixable. Alright, so there I go. I'm making sure again that that is pushed down beautifully so that it doesn't lift when I do my epoxy. Also, let your decals sit for a number of hours before you do your epoxy, just to make sure that the adhesive has really stuck on there and that it is not going to move. If you put your decals on straight away, quite often you'll find that they lift. Yep, so here I am about to make a wee mistake. Like I said, my hands shake and my cup wasn't very steady and I sliced into my epoxy. Yay for me. So I'm just going to get my sanding block and buff that out a little. In the finished cup, you cannot notice where that slice was. So I just buff it out and make sure that it's nice and smooth, and that when I put the final coat of epoxy on, that it will cover that little mistake. Yeah, so then I'm just going over, making sure I got rid of all that dust. And then the cup is ready for the final coat of epoxy, which this is a few hours later. You'll probably notice that the lighting has changed a little. Oh wait, no. Cleaning up my cup. Sorry about that. Yeah, so at this point I thought that my rim was looking very messy. There's quite a bit of glitter and stuff stuck up on the top there. So I decided to clean it before I did my final coat. This just makes it easier to do that final, when you do that final cleanup, if you haven't got those layers from before. So I just took the knife around the rim of the cup and cleaned it up, and then yeah, it comes off quite easy. I don't make it look easy, but it really does. Make sure that you're using a nice sharp new blade on your craft knife. It just makes things so much easier and so much cleaner. So after I have removed all the epoxy, you'll notice that, of course, the stainless steel, it looks much cleaner. So I take it and I just sand it a little, just making sure that there's no rough edges on those, on the top of the cup, that there's no glitter sitting up there, and making sure that there is a nice line of stainless steel exposed at the top so that I can get that good seal when I do my epoxy. Now I'm taking just some acetone and I'm going to clean out the inside of my cup. I've got a little bit of spray paint in there and still a little bit of residue from that epoxy. So this just gives it a nice clean, makes it all neat, so that when you do your final coat, cleanup will be a minimum. Yeah, so I just took it on a bit of paper towel. I just get the acetone from Bunnings. Yep, so I am actually nearly finished. Just making sure that that is really, really clean, and then I will let it sit again for a little while just to make sure that the fumes from that acetone have completely evaporated, and then I'll come back and do my epoxy. So the final coat of epoxy, I tend to do a nice thick coat just to make sure that it is really, really smooth and really, really beautiful. So I've sped this up again. You don't need to see a million videos of people applying epoxy. Thank you very much for watching. Hopefully you like it and you will subscribe to my channel. I'm hoping to put out a few more videos in the coming weeks. Yeah, so at the end of this, I will pop up a couple of photos of the finished product, and then I'll get this all edited and share it for you. I hope that you have enjoyed my cup.